Well, another thing on the ballot for several people is a bond. Now, there's a couple different bonds, but this is a Roosevelt ISD bond. So, Superintendent Dallas Grimes, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Talk with me about this. Now, I know you actually aren't here to advocate for or against this. This is just facts, and it's important to note because we need to know what this is, what's included in this. It's kind of unique.
Well, it is for us. It's very rare that our school board has ever called for a bond election. Really, when you go back over the past several decades, all the way to the 1940s and 50s, the election office does not have a record of any type of bond election for an academic campus for our district. We did do one back in 2006 for our basketball arena and to improve some water issues we had.
Okay.
But very rare that our school board calls for a bond. This is a $58.5 million bond, and as much as I wish I could pound the table for it, the rules say I can't. So really, I appreciate the opportunity. Just let me just speak about some information, some facts, and then we want the community to be aware of what we feel are what's our rationale for bringing it to them, so that they can make their decision.
And I know it's kind of hard to ask for money. I don't go to my dad and say, "Can I have $100?" Like, it feels a little wrong. So I know that this comes with some weight attached to it. Talk with me about what this looks like.
Well, we're all taxpayers, we're all West Texans, and we all are very hesitant to ask for a tax increase. But at the same time, we feel like there's just some variables that need to be considered. One is the age of our facilities. When you go across our campus on the academic pieces, they vary anywhere from 30 to 60 to 90 years old. The oldest portion of our elementary campus was built in 1935 by the Works Progress Administration, which was part of Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal plan. We actually got a plaque on the front of the elementary school for that section, which is cool. We're Roosevelt ISD, and our elementary campus was actually built under FDR's revitalization plan.
It's pretty
But
cool.
at the same time, it'll turn 90 years old next year, and we just thought it might be time to look at, there are some issues when you have 530 kids every year over several decades. There's wear and tear that happens. And so that's basically the priority. And then we are seeing a growth in our district. We're up about 8% since COVID.
Wow, okay.
And so we have 1,130 kids, where we were sitting around 1,000 for several years, and so we're up about 100 kids. And there's just some issues that come with that as far as serving lines, capacities, ability to handle all of that. And so there's some things that we would like to improve. There's some traffic flow issues, and we've got what we think is a pretty good plan to help with pick up and drop off time. I know that's a challenge for every school, but our campus is so linear in nature, our district really. But we do feel like there's some things we could address there. The one thing I do want to stress, though, is the economic growth. LEDA has done such a good job in bringing businesses, John Osborne and his crew, bringing businesses into Lubbock. Well, Leprino Foods is going to open. And it was the cheese plant, massive cheese plant. It's been working on it for 2 years. But that falls within our district. And when you run the numbers, it is such a massive operation. They will pay, at the course of this bond, they will pay over half of the bond. And so when you look at the factors of aging facilities, growth, and then we've got a new cheese plant coming in that would pick up a good sizable chunk. We thought it's worth getting the information out and let the voters decide. And that's really the message from our school board is, we just ask you to consider those factors. We want to make you aware of everything and then let the voters make their decision.
That's a big point, is that Leprino would foot the bill for half of this. Talk with me about the burden on the taxpayer, because I know, like, you go to the grocery store, eggs are more expensive, bananas are more expensive, but having kids means that you need to help them grow in a good, safe place too. So the actual financial burden, what does that look like?
So it's $8.34 a month for every $50,000 of home valuation. And so let's take a $150,000 home. That's what the average home in our district, that's what LCAD tells us the average home is. Now I know obviously that's the average. There's some well above and maybe some obviously a little bit below. But when you write off the first $100,000, if you assume homestead exemption affidavit's been filed, there's no more substantial improvements coming along, anything like that, you're basically looking at an $8.34 month increase to the average homeowner. Beyond that, if you want to keep going, if you want to let's take a $300,000 home, you write off the first $100,000 because of the homestead exemption. You're looking at about $400 a year total annual out of pocket. We've got information on our website. We want to get this out because that's an important factor to anybody. But basically, that gives you the numbers. It's $8.34 per $50,000 home valuation. But remember, for most folks, you've got the homestead exemption that has increased dramatically.
Yeah.
If I could, I do want to say this about Leprino Foods. They have done everything they said they would and more for our district.
That's
and
great.
I want the community to know the type of company that that's coming to Lubbock.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a huge blessing to Lubbock.
Cool.
And to Roosevelt ISD.
Yeah.
But I say all that just to know that, for 2 years, this has been a long time coming. Really, we've been working with the company 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah.
And they haven't even rolled out one block of cheese yet, but they're fixing to.
Yeah.
But they are great people that have done everything they said they would and more for our district. And I believe that's the same thing's happening for the city of Lubbock. So I think they're going to be quality folks, and I just can't say enough about Lita because they are doing wonders for our district, but also for the city.
I mean, that's a huge deal, and the fact that they would carry about half the burden of this bond that's enormous. This could be life-changing if something like this passes, especially for a campus like this. So when they head to the polls so soon, when early voting starts, what do you want the facts on people's minds? Give us some quick bullet points.
Well, the facts are the aging facilities. We've already experienced, without any more growth, we already have capacity issues.
Yeah.
Our freshmen at our high school campus for several years now have had to eat in the practice gym because we're out of room at our high school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so, it's part of being a freshman.
Yeah.
But we'd like to remedy that. We'd like to expand the dining hall. And I just think it's important for our community to consider, perhaps after several decades of not approaching you with a bond, would you look at some of the factors going on and then make your decision? And that's what we want to make you aware of. There's no doubt, okay, if Leprino Foods was not coming in and set to open, the size of this bond would not even be brought to the community.
Okay.
And I want to, I say all this, I think Leprino Foods, a privately owned company, they have no obligation to open up their books to us.
Yeah.
But they have been throughout this. This has been several months to years in the planning. They've been very helpful to us and just easy to work with.
Transparent.
Yes, that's really the word, when they really have no obligation to do so.
Cool.
And I just think that they want to, that plant's obviously important to them.
Yeah.
And I think they just want to spread some of those blessings to the community.
Yeah, I love that. Like cheese on toast.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Well, they're the world's #1 supplier of mozzarella cheese, so everybody in Lubbock needs to do their part and continue to eat pizza.
Eat a lot of pizza.
And you're supporting the community.
Okay.
So.
Wow, yes, that's a cause I can get behind for sure. Well, I appreciate you being here, explaining some of this, and we'll just see what happens in November, but thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.